like I really don't belong. I can't explain it. When I close my eyes, I see a strange reality. Am I dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? You wake up feeling like you really don't belong. You can't explain it, but when you close your eyes you see familiarity. Are you dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? Okay, we're here. Where is the chat? I guess we're not really here, right? There we go. Okay, it was so sunny in here a minute ago that I was going to have to put sunscreen on. Smile every day. I know it seems like it's just such a cliche, but just smiling, just practice smiling. It really does improve your mood. So if you're having a problem smiling, let's start with something too silly not to smile at. Toblerina's drag costume. Oh, I should have said trigger warning for those people who are afraid of drag. Well, assuming you're not afraid of people in drag. It can be a man or a woman, and in this case it's Toblerina. Toblerina needs a drag costume for Pride Month next year. I am working on next year's calendar. First year's calendar is out in Zazzle, and if you look in the comments, or not the comments, the description, there's somewhere in there, there's Toblerina store and Zazzle, and you can see this year's 12 collages and 12 costumes. So now we're working on 2024, and I decided we're going to do a rainbow in tiny beads, but I don't have the beads yet, which is why it's just sitting here. That's a little extra strength because it's going to get a little top heavy. But actually it won't be top heavy because it's going to be like, you know, on a toe. Toe ballerina. So, anyway, my all-time favorite for, I just use this for so many different things. Almost every one of my art projects ends up with some of this either in it or on it. Just, I will caution you, try not to get it on your skin. It's not bad, like dangerous or anything like that, but you just got a little, it's a bitch to get off. It does not just come off. It's not water-based once it's dry. It's acrylic. So it's wonderful stuff. But like I said, if I'm going to be doing something like paper mache, you know, like having to mold it with my fingers, I would put rubber gloves on or little latex gloves on before getting this on. Now there's other stuff I haven't messed with yet, but this breaks down well, pretty well. The clear glue. Same thing with this jelly kind of thing. It's craft glue from the dollar store, but I will tell you, it's more like jelly glue. It's not thick enough to hold anything upright, but it's like jelly. It's or snot. That was when it starts coming out of that nozzle. It takes a little getting used to, but it can be kind of gross and yet fascinating at the same time. So what I have here is, I'm building this up with tissue paper, so paper mache, but I'm using tissue paper because it's going to lay flatter. I'm trying to get it built up enough so that I can just cut down the back of it and then pull it away so that I can put this on toe ballerina. But if it's not thick enough, it's going to tear when I'm trying to get it off. So I'm going to build it up a little bit more. And I'm actually ready. I got my clean water, I got my clean rag, got my clean toe ballerina. All right, let's go right to the back. I just realized I'm not wearing the glasses I need for this work, so let me get this attached and then I gotta put the glasses on. It is just so hard getting used to these new eyes. Now, the nice thing about the Liquitex medium, it's gloss medium. You can use it like a glue, like, you know, Mod Podge, the same uses. This makes a harder surface, though, I think, in a good way. This is what I put on every acrylic painting to finish it off, to give it some gloss, because acrylics notoriously dry more matte than not. Okay, let's strengthen the side. It's like building a body cast. When every time I had to get a new body cast after my surgery, it's kind of funny. I always got the technicians laughing because you have to be. Well, they put this body stocking on you, right? So it's like a big tube of fabric, stretchy fabric, and it's tied at your feet and it's tied at the top of your head. So you're just like in this big tube, and they, cut a place for your face, but they can't cut away very much because they're trying to keep attention on this so they can wrap you in plaster. So it's this rack you're suspended on so they can, Now, it's comfortable enough. I mean, it was for me. The most uncomfortable part of being wrapped in plaster is the heat. Because plaster doesn't dry, it cures. And as it's curing, it's getting hot. And when your entire body is covered in it, let me tell you, it gets pretty freaking hot. So, I used to just get these people laughing over being on the rack, making jokes about it. Because what else can you do? You're hanging there for like, oh God, it takes over an hour for them to do a body wrap. I don't know what it is now, but yeah, it was a bitch. And then after it hardens, you have to stay there in this darkness kind of thing, suspended on this rack. And while it hardens, because they have to be able to trim it, and then pop your head out at the top, and then curl it around, make a collar, and all this shit. So just imagine being wrapped in plaster to hold your spine completely as straight as possible. So it starts with up here in the neck, and then it goes down to the hips, ass. It is. It's heavy. Now, they had recently started using Kevlar mesh to do legs and arms, mostly arms, because they were skeptical about how much weight it could bear. And I'm like, why don't you do the body cast in Kevlar? It doesn't give the way plaster eventually does. You could just, instead of doing 3 casts, because they give you successively smaller casts as you're healing, instead of doing 3, they could do 1, because Kevlar, it lets water through, it's a mesh. You could take showers and not stink or anything. So they still hadn't started, they still didn't do it. I still do not understand. Kevlar is some heavy duty material. They make boats out of it. They make speedboats out of it. So why can't they make a cast? Like, that's a shell of that is not going to hold a body in. I think more about the plaster, the industry. It's like, no, we cannot go and invest in this now. We just filled our warehouses with all these plaster strips. We have this all set up. Now we're going to have to get these kinds of saws, and you have to have these kinds of diamond blades that can cut through this without cutting skin. My father invented one. Well, he invented his kind. I don't know what they ever did in the end. Anyway, yeah, I was selling them. I was selling diamond blades to boat companies that were building boats, and I forgot about that. Anywhere you needed to cut Kevlar was a good place for my father's blades. But it was after my father had passed away, and it was hard to keep going on my own as the single only representative in California, with the factory being in New Jersey. Oh, we could try glasses. And now I cannot see you. But I can see Toblerina better. And this area, the area definitely needs to be heavy enough not to peel off the boobs, which are not part of the costume yet. They're actually just stuck on Toblerina to hold them in place while I build this. So, oh dear. You know what? Now, once the basic shell is made, I still have to put on the tissue to make it drape like fabric. That's going to be the challenge. And I'm going to have to do it while it's on here, so I'm going to cut it off just to make sure I'm not doing everything in vain. And then put it back on and make it stay on with piece of tape in the back while I do the fabric effect in the front. Now, I've not had to make anything this elaborate so far, other than, you know, weaving and sewing and crocheting. Yeah. So this is completely new. Oh, I do want to mention that although I am pitching, basically what it comes down to, because I love this stuff, I'm not being compensated in any way. Liquitex, the company who owns it now anyway. It used to be Binney and Smith. At liquitex.com. Are you really underneath the Liquitex on your own name? Well, I'll be congratulations. Apparently Liquitex is their own people, and awesome on that. Made in France. That's awesome, but that does explain why it was twice the amount of money than it used to be when I went to get some. Yeah, I've been using Liquitex acrylics, mediums, and paints since I was 11 years old, and that was when I first discovered them. My father bought me like a kit to learn how to paint. And I had my first canvas panel pad, paper, canvas paper. My first brushes, my first acrylics, Krylon spray to finish it off, which is actually the best, and I do have some of that too. Little things, I use this, not Krylon, because I prefer to avoid sprays. And when I do my rocks, all my rocks are finished in this. So when I was little, of course, I thought that was the only brand in the world. And then in the 80s, when I was selling art supplies and I was representing Liquitex in retail world, I still loved their consistency, the variety of colors, because people loved not having to mix colors. They have such a large scale of available hues. It was definitely overall our best-selling acrylic, but they were not by any means the only ones. There are other good brands, and some cheaper, some more expensive. I can tell you that it was never worth it going cheaper. Excuse me. Although, again, it depends on what you're doing. I use, usually, but I'm replacing slowly, the cheapest possible, not looking to be cheap, but the little hobby paints, like 50 cents at Walmart. When I started buying them, they were like $1, and then so many people started carrying them, they went down to like 50 cents. And those, another one, large variety of colors for the hobbyist. So I was painting rocks, and I do that every year. How much money did I want to spend on a hobby? I'm telling people, look, if you really need to create, you can do it for very little money. Get yourself some decent brushes, but I don't mean expensive. You can get decent brushes at Michael's, at Walmart even. You can find some good brushes. Good enough. Acrylics, excuse me, are very rough. It doesn't feel it when you're touching it, but it's actually very wearing on bristles. So you're going to do yourself a favor getting something cheap that you can replace frequently. I go through spotters like crazy, and any long hair, anything small. This is a 10-aught liner. I love liners too. Excuse me. But they wear out really fast, so I'm not going to spend a fortune on these because I've gotten really expensive ones. That's what I started with, and they also wear out pretty fast. I found it was just as economical to get these, if possible, with wooden handles, so that you're not like putting a lot of plastic into the landfill. So that's handy. All right, we're going to let Toblerone dry. We'll snip off the excess. And let's see. My hair is down because it's still drying. Yep. I decided that today was the day I needed to re-blue my hair. So I had a longer morning than usual. All right, and now I have been itching to paint. We haven't just painted in a while, and there's been lots of reasons for that, but now it's time. Now, let's see. Oh, the one that did not work. Yeah, it's too much like a little body cast for my toe. I did bring myself a little reward to the table. I brought chocolate chip cookies. And I'm going to have one while saying hello. And maybe. I'm not usually good at opening some of these packet things. I'm always, you know, a little wary, like opening up a bag of popcorn and ending up with it going over your head.
Okay, and now I have a cookie.
And now I need a palette. Where's my palette? Ah, new palette. Okay. Fresh canvas. I love fresh canvas. I love fresh canvas. Canvas panel. Cheap shit. Cheap shit with crumbs. It's a good thing I haven't swept yet today. Alright. There's no paints here yet because I haven't decided on the background quite. Because I have stuff over here going, what am I doing with all this stuff over here? Ah, yeah, cards. Let's not get paint on the cards. I'm going to take a card and move them over there. You understood that, right? Let's put a cookie in your mouth and say that. Alright, paints. I think I better get my glasses out of the way too because I'm going to be spritzing water. When you spritz, you know, it spritzes a little everywhere. Okay. I saw this over there. Now I had to like, how can I fit this into this picture? What I'm thinking of, and I don't know, but gotta hold it nearby. All right, what I was actually thinking was blue sky. I want sunshine. I want some happy colors. I want it kind of abstract and just a mishmash of color. Like a sunny day. Anywhere. It's a beautiful sunny day. So, I have this color that we're going to need to work with. So any blues cannot clash with this one. Matter of fact, if it's a pastel of that, that's even better. Cobalt. I would just sworn that would be more like a cerulean. And here's cerulean. Actually, I think I am right. Cerulean blue does go. What do you know? Okay, so we got the cerulean blue and we've got the white. Ooh. Some lavender. We've got some, oh, I like that pink. Yellow. We need some happy yellow. Whoa, primary. It is primary. Oh, no, no, no hot reds. No, we're not going with the heat. We're going with the, I don't know, just happy. Therefore, the green. What do we want for the green? Ooh la la. Okay. Call me crazy, but hello everyone. I'm here now. Hello Charlie. Hello Agnes. I need to. Hi. I'm here with tea and cookies and paint. And let's see. We have to do better. I know I can make me smaller. You don't need to keep looking at my face. Come here, you. There. All right. Now the emphasis is where it's supposed to be. Did I squash me the wrong way? Am I now... Okay, we don't need that in the way, but I probably should get my hair out of the way. So how are you guys, guy and gal? Okay, after washing it, it should stand. Light. Light. How can I forget light? But the light's been changing. 1 minute it's noon, the next it's just, you know. That's right, it's still morning for you. It's breakfast time for you. Isn't it? Yeah, that's what I would think. Well, in a way I am too. But, you know, how it is. All right. Now, this is going to make a mess. Maybe I should protect this. Because I really do like to go a little hog wild now and then. And this is what I want to do. Guess what feeling is strongest in me right now? What feeling is strongest in you right now? I don't know. Disgust? Hunger? Sleepy, bored. There's a lot of them, you know, 22 of them. How can I possibly guess correctly? Okay, on boredom. How creative of you. Well, sit and be bored, my man. I have to choose a brush. This is a watercolor brush. Do I really want to load it up with this? I do. Yes, it's oil, but also could be a watercolor. Most of my brushes are actually great for small work. I've worked in miniature for so long now. I miss doing big palette knife stuff. I have 2 hungry giant canvases right there. Almost as tall as me and about 3 times as wide. It's going to take a lot of paint. All right. Cheap dollar store paint. Is there any use in it yet? Did it all dry up? Is it all jelly? Jelly it is. You are cheap, but I know how to use you. Because we need a little bit of texture. Now, there are additives to slow the drying time of acrylics down. Why them instead of just water? Because water has its limits. If you use too much of it, you wash the medium out, you make it like it's not going to stick. Oh, look at that, one of my hairs. This is why I like to put my hair up. Let's see. There we go. Other mediums you can add, or gel mediums, things to give it body, things to thin it, things to slow the drying time, things to speed the drying time. I can't imagine why anybody would speed the drying time of an acrylic. And then again, maybe if you're doing gigantic pores, that could make sense. All right, I don't want to lose all this white because, you know, why waste it? I'm also going to still want to go mushy, and this is why. I don't want to go green though, so let's see. That was exciting. And now it has to dry before I can put the blues, pinks, and violets, and orange. Yeah, violet and lavender, and whoops, see on the white. We'll clean up. And now, I must move another painting to put this one down. Well, that was not good, was it? That will have to do. Okay. I will change the water. Now you see why I use a plastic tablecloth. The end of the year, it is stone painting. Although usually by the end of the year, I've also cut through with an X-Acto knife at least 2 or 3 times. So it's also shredded a bit. Okay, I'm gonna go rinse this out because like nothing can sit. It's something to remember about Liquitex medium varnish. It's very strong, and if you let your brush dry with this in it, you may have to say goodbye to the brush. It's seriously hard to get out. Well, I have to say, I am thrilled. Spring seems to be coming to Connecticut early because when I went to the dollar store looking for some ribbons for Toblerina's dresses, I found something else. I will show you something exciting. Seeds. Now, I got these on sale last year from probably a dollar store or Walmart, wherever it was very cheap. And I wanted to point these out because cilantro, also known as coriander, if you use coriander fuel seeds, grow the cilantro, let it flower, let it go to seed, collect the seeds, and you've got really fragrant, super fresh coriander. Just let it dry. If you're like me, it may never reach that point because I love cilantro. Basil. Basil, even if you don't like to eat basil, you can use it for aromatherapy. Basil lifts your spirits. Just rub a couple of leaves together. Oh, it gives you such a lift, even in the middle of winter. Having a little basil plant in your kitchen, if you have enough light for it, is a good thing to do. It's like an antidepressant. And it is good chopped up and put on your, whatever you do with tomato. Chives. So simple. chives go on and on and on. Chives have lots of different good qualities. Number one, if you plant them in the ground or in a pot, they're very well behaved. They tend to stay where you put them in a nice little clump. Garlic chives, same thing. Garlic chives even more orderly. Both are edible greens. That's the point behind them. But in the case of these oniony chives, the ones that you see chopped up in like cream cheese and chives, that's this. The green onion part of it, the green part of it, doesn't have a bulb. These put out this beautiful little purple flower, a little lavender flower, and if you pull it apart, all those little teeny flower petals can go in a salad, and they taste like chives, and they're completely edible. But the green part holding it together is not so. So just pull all the little purple things off the flowers, and they really are good in salads. I used to do that all the time down south. That's another one you can grow in your kitchen if you've got just a little bit of light. But what I was looking forward to is we've got a little animal rescue area right off the property, and there are people around here that donate. Basically, they help with the bedding and food, and there's some shelters there. So I wanted to add to it by planting some wildflowers around the area. Also, it's nice just for people walking around, because we've got, excuse me, an area where all they do is like sit there and smoke around a bench, and it's just really gross over there. I figure it really needs some help. So I'm going to see if I can get some flowers going. If I can keep the guys from mowing them down. Cosmos, as a friend once said, cosmos grows so easily, it'll grow in your shoe. Wherever you throw it, these seeds love to take hold. The cool thing about cosmos is not the American ones, not the bright lights. Bright lights have a different green. They have, it's beautiful, but it doesn't get as tall. These kind of get tall up to like 4 or 5 feet, and they get wavy if you have a bunch of them. And they have a really ferny foliage, so it's a really pretty green, just float around, and then all these flowers just start popping out, floating among them, among the greens. They don't come out that dense. I do not remember ever seeing a red cosmo. I have had purple cosmos and white and lavender and pink. I've never had red, but it says red. It shows red here, so hopefully it wasn't some kind of color correction, and it really does have the ability to make some red cosmos. The wildflower blend is just, you know, like, good luck all of you. Some of it's just not going to happen, like the poppies. It's some things, you know, they are wildflowers, but the chance of success for some of them are very minimal, because they need different actual planting times. Poppies like this do not like to be planted in warmer weather. They like the cold first. So, yep, I think these daisies too. There's just a lot of plants. The wild plants, they need a cold season before they pop, and if you just go out there and put them out in spring, they don't always do so great. It's a balanced combination of annual and perennial wildflowers. Well, we'll see. We'll give it a shot here. It was $1, well, $1.25. You know, the dollar store is no longer a dollar store. It's a $1.25 store. Oh, look, I'm a talking head. Okay. Arg. Lower back is killing today. I don't really want to say that out loud, but ow. I'm gonna have to do something about it. We need more tissue. Okay. Oh, come on. Ouch. Those are dangerous. Well, we'll just do it like a body cast. And I guess we better cut it up. There was a problem with the server. Retry. I'm sorry. So, Charlie, are you still there? Yay, welcome back. So, playing chess. Oh, not a rush. I didn't really want to talk to you. I just wanted to know if you were there. Oink. Do you do much lamb or any lamb? Like lamb chops? Oh, okay. Well, it's okay, because I know how I'm going to cook it. My favorite way. Almost burnt. I'm thinking what I want to make with it for a side veg. But you don't do much veg, so... But what would you eat with lamb if you were having it served to you? I can't recommend cooking lamb indoors, quite frankly. It's actually kind of harsh to the fat that is, even when you don't use a high temperature. So I'm going to do it in the air fryer to contain the fat in one spot, because if I do it in the frying pan, which is my other alternative, or even worse, the broiler, that stuff, it's just a fatty meat and it's everywhere. But because it's fatty, I like to cook it well done so that I get all the fat that I can out of it. And I trim it very well before I cook it too. Asparagus, potato. I think I finished all the asparagus. I might have some in the freezer. I'll have to check. I'll have to put that on the list if I'm out in the freezer. Yeah, that's a good one. I have some red cabbage. I haven't done red cabbage in years and years and years. Like since I was a young person, like in my 20s, maybe early 30s. There was a restaurant in California. Oh God, what was it? They were famous for their steaks, and they're looking like they were someplace up north. North Woods. That's what it was called, North Woods. They used a big piece of wood for the menu. It was kind of like the outdoorsy restaurant that they were making fun of, but was actual kind of real in that Chevy Chase movie, Great Outdoors. Not Chevy Chase, John Candy and Dan Aykroyd. The Great Outdoors. They do eating things like, if you finish this gigantic piece of meat, we will let you have the whole meal for free. It's like, no, thank you. I have bread. I've got garlic. What kind of bread do I don't have bread that's suitable for garlic bread, though. Unless I use getting ready to go stale, which is always good for garlic bread. Matter of fact, that rings a bell. I probably have done it before in desperation. Hot dog rolls. Turn them into garlic bread. They make good croutons. I do have some potatoes that need to be eaten, some red rose. Okay. I have been slowly, every 24 hours, freezing more of the meat that I got, because it's going to sit, it's for a whole month, you know, so it's got to be packed in there solidly. I'm going to need some fresh tea. Okay, you ready for the next cut, girl? I think so. Yeah, definitely have to strengthen the sides some more. That's what's going to be taking the tension. Let's hit it. I could put glasses back on. Well, that should help. Double up. Yes, it doesn't have to go all the way down the bottom here because that's going to end up being trimmed off in the end. Tumbling is not that tall. This is just extra tall as a model. And that worked out pretty good. Okay, I need glasses for this part. Like, what do you do with pork roast for veg? Or if you're going to serve it. Oh, I was talking about Northwoods. Northwoods made, whether you wanted it or not, it seemed, you got a bowl of red cabbage, cooked red cabbage, and it was really good. It's like you start with it like an appetizer. And it turns out it's pretty good for digestion. So not a bad choice. It does seem to me like it cuts the fat a bit because it's got vinegar. start to get some draping. Not you, you have to be firm up there. We're getting there. Oh, I could make that. I haven't packed them yet. Something or the other has to get frozen tonight. So I've got a pork roast, 2 thin pork loins that are packed together. So I'm sure one is like almost like nothing, right? It's only when they're screwed up that they do that kind of thing and then put them on sale. So I got those. I'm going to break that up into a couple meals. That's like a couple meals, but it's a roast just in case I have company. Or usually I just cook 2 days at a time. And I've got some lamb chops. So if I have lamb, then the remaining lamb chops get put in the freezer tonight. And if I have pork, then the remaining pork goes in the freezer tonight. When you say an array of spices, it's like, I haven't thought about doing it with mustard, but that sounds really interesting. I usually do it depending on what herbs I have around. Rosemary, thyme, garlic, onion. I mix it in with oil and then make a rub out of it. What else? It just depends on what I'm in the mood for, I guess. But I haven't tried it with mustard, and I've got some mustard to use. Okay, we're going to let this dry. We're starting to see some, and that's doing good right there.
Welcome back here to Oblivion.
I hope that's heavy enough. Well, we'll finish the front. Let it dry overnight. I see. Well, the mustard, I noticed in general when you cook with it like that, it like the vinegar evaporates and the sugars go more like caramelized, and it's not so much the mustard, but what it lends to the overall flavor. That's one of the ways of doing steak too, to put a layer of mustard on it. That was actually one of my father's favorite ways. Then there are those who recommend butter. I just can't get myself to do the butter on steak, just because all I see in my head is cholesterol magnified. I can't do it. Well, I don't want this to go to waste. So let's see, is there anything around here that needs this? As a matter of fact, oops, sorry, bird. My poor little birdie. I have this. And there we go. This goes on a light, you know, LED light. It looks pretty lit up. Pink, green, and blue. But right now it is on my tree. And it's going to be over here so it can dry. There you go. Alright, again, I must get rid of this. Well, what sounds really good? A cup of coffee. A cup of coffee sounds extremely good right now. Like a pick-me-up to go with the other 2 cookies in my chips package. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I have been on for an hour. Good. Okay. I am going to just be wandering around for a couple of minutes. So this is a good time for everybody to go to the bathroom or get a cup of coffee. I'm going to get a cup of coffee. So, yes. Be right back. Oh, I guess I should put a song on. I feel bad leaving you by yourselves without something that says, hey, we're still here. How about something unexpected? Tuna Maris. And now I'm going to whip up my half and half for my coffee, which will be ready shortly. Thank you. Oh, you're lovely. Hallelujah. It's coffee time. It's the Melita drip system. All I'm missing is the coffee dust, cocoa dust. Oh, so good. This is a treat. Look at that. Perfect foamage. I so deserve that. Okay. Let's try it. Lavazza. Gran aroma. Hot. Very hot. But tasty. Yep. It's been so long since I treated my house like a cafe. I forgot about having the cinnamon dust, you know, and the cocoa dust and the vanilla dust. That you had to buy. Well, you can do vanilla sugar, but how much sugar do you want to really put on top of your coffee? I mean, unless it's just that's what you usually do in your coffee. Anyway, let's see how you're doing, Toblerina model. Now let's see if we can drape a little bit more. This feels kind of dry. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. All right. Oh, that last thing I played, the instrumental, the strange thing, that is called Back to Nomaris. It's from the first novel, when our heroes are returning to Nomaris, hence Back to Nomaris. I'm hoping Meg stops in. She had that job interview yesterday. I'm dying to find out how it went. Come on now. Right there. Stay right there. Okay, I think we're seeing some good draping there. That will work. Let's get a nice bodice in here. Here you go. Even though some of this is going to get cut off, I need it for strength for the removal. Kinder blends, is that a brand like from Pampered Chef? I'm looking at them going, first I thought I knew that, and then I went, wait a second, no, that's a different, that might be a local blend or something. I'm not familiar with those brands. I do love trying blends. I just tried one that's all over the place. It's very popular. Kind of like an everything blend. It works really well for like an everything blend. It's like, no wonder this is popular. And it's at the dollar store too. It does contain salt though. I know that Alan, the person I'm introducing to things like skin moisturizer for eczema, poor guy. I'm also showing him that he can cook his own stuff. That's a little bit of flavoring will make it better than what he's buying frozen. All right, we must let her dry again. The light in here right now is so cool. I love how this place, the lights it changes so rapidly. I've got so many windows. This jar of water is just kind of milky white right now because of the Liquitex medium. But the light coming across the table is like putting this pink into it. It's like suddenly all this pink is glowing in there. It's like, isn't that pretty? The light changes, I might end up with the blue or the purple. But in any case, we do need to make sure it's clean. Take a look at the other canvas panel. Still a little wet. Can't let that be. Okay. Klutzy moments. And yeah. Now that I am wearing the paint, I think I'll go wash that off as well. It's almost dry. Now I started another picture thinking I was going to make Tublerina's February calendar for last year, and it turned out I didn't like it. And I came up with a way better idea. But I have this ugly canvas panel. Ugly in that I just don't like pink this way. So since I didn't really put any thickness on this, it's not going to take much to cover this up. So something we haven't done yet Oh, well, I do have one that's already black. Uh-huh. Oh, no, I've got orange glitter and stuff stuck to that now. I'm not going to mess with that. All right. We need to cover this up. Thinking, thinking, thinking. No, I did make a little bit of an edge there, didn't I? I used tape. Okay. Oh, I gotta love this. How about we see what this does? Huh. A little more than I planned. But now that it's down, let's see how far it'll go. Oh, I don't know about you, but I already feel better. I do kind of like the red, the hot red with this prismatic. Oh, I got an idea. I don't know where I think I'm going. The paints are right here. Okay. Put that down. Oh, my rag. I had a pile of rags. I guess I've gone through them. Okay, time for a sip of coffee and perhaps a cookie. I'm working on a pack of 4. Oh, I have 2 left. Yep, I like cerulean blue mixed in with that prism violet. That works nicely. What do I pick? Ultramarine? Must be. Yep. All reliable. I got rid of the pink. Except I, pulled it out from underneath. All right. An angel out of the darkness. It's not ready to be handled. So I'm going to put it back down. Wipe the wet paint off my hands in the sink. Oh, at least I didn't have to go out of my way to paint the sides. Although they are red and it looks funny. I knew it would be a good idea to put my apron on today. Yeah, it's pretty good. And so when you don't have coffee every day It is a special pleasure. Mm-hmm. The invisible signature. I think it's resonation time. And then we will return for the final cookie. Oh yes. We will. All right, we are back. That was lovely. I should do another energy painting. I like to paint energy now, not things specifically. Which I know sounds weird, but yeah, I just like the energy of it. And the colors. And the energy of the colors. And the movement. Ah, coffee. Right now, I'm in the mood to sit in a coffee shop with some really good weed. I need to go to Amsterdam. I understand you can do that there. Go to a coffee shop and puff and try different flavors of that and try different flavors of this. It's like perfect vacation. Well, not perfect. That's a nice part of a vacation. And then, you know, things to snack on. Now, I watched this advertisement this morning, and I know in the morning, you know, we're more vulnerable to suggestion, which is why I recommend that people practice their affirmations when they want to program their subconscious mind first thing in the morning and before bed. When you're like really relaxed. You start thinking stupid shit when you're really relaxed. You're programming the wrong stuff in your head. So, you know, you got to get a grip. Pay attention to what you're thinking. I completely forgot what I was thinking. It was this. It was the resonation. That was it. Oh, yeah, I remember now. I watched a commercial about losing weight. But not like just losing weight. About getting, you know, more fit. And you take a little quiz for your body type. And actually, for the first time I saw one that actually reflected me. Skinny. What do you do when you're skinny? And you have like some blobs of fat you can't seem to get rid of, but you also can't seem to get your tone up. You can't get, you know, things where you want them. Usually, all these diets are about people trying to lose weight. And when I put in that I want to gain weight, they don't know what to do. They have no recommendations other than, oh, eat more. Well, this guy in his little test commercial thing did tell me something I needed to hear, because I'd heard it before. To eat 5 small meals a day, or 3 small meals and a couple of snacks in between. Basically, every 3 or 4 hours you got to put something in your stomach. And, you know, of course, do whatever your exercise routine is if you do any exercises. But the exercises are useless unless you've got the fuel to burn at that time. So, like, oh, well, I'll try that. So I'm eating cookies. Well, it's not a meal, but I already had like a late breakfast, so this is my little snack. I'm gonna try and make sure I put things in my stomach, and it should make other things better too for my stomach, so we'll see. We will try it. I guess if you were just a wild animal living out on the prairie, and you had access to small amounts of food all day, then yeah, I guess you would just eat a little here and a little there as you're moving around. You wouldn't have like a social system based on your meal times, because if you were living naturally, it wouldn't be modeled on a 9-to-5 job kind of a thing. Like if you're going to get to work on time, you got to get up, and it means you're going to eat breakfast at this time frame, lunch at this time frame, to break that up. When you get home, you're going to be, you know, hungry pretty soon, so dinner, and then bed. So yeah, we have a lot of artificial frameworks that don't really go with our bodies. And I think that causes a lot of disruptions. I think people have problems with their diets just because of the way we've been modeled on our sleeping and waking and what time we're supposed to eat kinds of things. Even when we can make our own schedules, we can't completely, because if we need to get things done in the rest of the world, we're back to having to use their schedules. It's like you can't always go shopping in the middle of the night, although there are some places where, yes, there are 24-hour places to go grocery shopping, because there are such things as people working second and third shifts, and they're not going to be 9-to-5 livers. Okay, well, let's see how the other canvas panel is doing. Oh, let's put you back on the hot plate. All right. I think we can trade them off. We'll put this out of the way to go finish drying. I just found an outlet. Okay, Charlie. Do my eyes deceive me, or have they been deceiving me? Oh my God, it really is an outlet. It's now time to get some more of the blue and violet and all the other stuff out. I want some blue. So if I didn't let this, oh, no, it's not completely dry. No, we cannot do this. If it is not completely dry, I will end up with green sky, and I don't want green sky. So off it goes. Now this, apparently I have used this for a backdrop before. I taped some stuff to it and used it for a photograph. But now we are painting it. But this is a cheap dollar store panel. It should not be doing this. The fact that it's doing this means that it only has one thin, crappy coat of gesso. And when I say crappy, it's because moisture broke through. So it's just a bit of pressed crapwood in the middle, right? It's just like, you know, pressed paper. And it's just wrapped with a piece of canvas panel. But this canvas panel, while it was still a roll, on a roll, it was covered in the white paint. But it's not just paint, it's a ground. I mean, you're supposed to fill in a bunch of spaces and make the canvas waterproof. And this is the reason people end up putting gesso on something that came with gesso on it, because you can't trust them to do a good job or use good gesso. Or even that it's gesso at all. It might just be white paint, which is not the same and it doesn't do the job. So yeah, you need the right preparation if you want the piece of art to stand up to time. And this is not going to do that. So we're not investing a great amount of work in this particular backdrop. It's just going to be basically a lot of color splashes to represent things and not be the back, you know, it's just not important itself. What's going to be important will be Toblerina. Where did she go? Toblerina dressed up. So we will do something probably like create a rainbow across the sky. It's obviously going to be for Pride Month. But yeah, we don't want colors mixing and I think that's all right. Yeah, we'll give it a shot. Okay. No, 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 no green. Getting green. Oh, you were just miserable. Why did you do that? This is definitely not a properly treated canvas panel. I should never do that. Yeah, we're just gonna have to. Damn, it dries out so fast. Where's the greens? Oh, I put them away already. Jump on the gun. What's more of that? Like that. Okay. Now we have to let this dry. Better add back. I think it's time to get a fresh rag. I must go tear off some, strangely, no rain yet, just cloudy. Hey, aloha. Yeah, the rain just passed us by. That storm went just south of here. Got some wind and just pushed right off. All right. So how is Maui today? Oh, can't touch it now. All right, Mr. 10. See, there you go. Maui, you're a 10. You can tell everybody that. And you won't be lying, right? You just don't have to tell them what that refers to. Let them make any assumptions they want. We're making a background. I will be doing other stuff on top of it, but the background first and then the collage parts come afterward. So, excuse me. This is for Pride Month. We will have the rainbow in the hair. I might make a cornfield or something like that to remember, you know, in tribute to Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And let's see what else. Oh, her Toblerina will be in drag. Her little drag costume is coming along. So tomorrow or tonight I will try cutting it and hoping that this is thick enough now that I'll be able to crack it off without breaking it or tearing it. I'm already nervous about it. It's like it looks so thin, but I used tissue paper, so technically it is thin so that it can go around my toe and all that. The bottom will be cut off. It's just, this is all the excess. Top over here will be cut off. Might even be a you know, low back. But yeah, so that will be somewhere in here with, you know, basically the rainbow. And I think that will be cute as hell. Yesterday, one of the ladies on my floor, a box of chicken for the, aww, a box of chicken. A box of chicken, you mean like Kentucky Fried Chicken, already cooked? Or she gave you some raw chicken to cook yourself? Do good, it comes back to you. People will want to do something when the time is right. That's so nice. I have successfully procured dinner. And what dinner did you hunt down? Frozen chicken. Cool. Food is nice food, right? Good. Better frozen chicken than a can of Spam. It turns out, you know, when it comes to canned meats, there are two that are really good for you if you're going to use a canned meat, and the rest you can pretty much don't touch. One is, surprisingly enough, a chicken. Not a whole chicken, that's a disgusting slimy thing, you don't want that. The canned white meat chicken in a can, like it looks like a tuna can but larger. That is like, got all these thumbs up. And sardines are really, really good for you. Mackerel, really good for you. And all those are really safe. Tuna, only occasionally, they said, because unless you're getting the right kind, you're getting too much mercury. But relatively low in mercury are anchovies, sardines, and what I just said, mackerel. And those are all really very healthy for you, so that's good to know. They DM'd on Thursday. Did he get back to you yet? And he didn't reply yet? Because you're saying Thursday. Oh, he did a few hours later. Okay. You never did get back to us on that. Santa Claus never got me that pony and I've been good. Aw, poor you. Yeah, Glenn was 50 years old when he was still bitching that he didn't get the guitar he wanted when he was 12. And he's still angry about it. Oh, well, that makes him not gay. That was yesterday. If I know my days of the week. Yeah, he sounds depressed. He's bummed out. Just what you need. A guy going through a breakup. Yeah, I think you need to make some other kinds of friends. Yeah, this canvas is definitely fucked. That's so strange. I'm gonna have to put more paint down after. Otherwise I'm gonna end up with a green sky and I don't want that. In other news, I peed on one of my mom's plants. To fertilize it. Well, if it was low in certain things, piss is usually good for plants as long as you follow it with water. So, to make sure it doesn't burn, put some water on it after you pee on it. We used to save pee to go and sprinkle around our garden to keep the deer away. Also, snakes weren't too fond of it. Why did you pee on her plant? Were you feeling hostile? Or was it looking kind of pale? It should make it green up. Uric acid's good for the plants. So when did you do that? that you're telling me now that you pissed on your mother's plant. A rather random subject, but something on your mind, obviously. Yeah, now your dog is gonna piss there. Well, it's gonna, if it's a sunny spot, you probably harmed the plant because uric acid and what other stuff that's in your urine can burn the plant if the sun hits it directly. So, yeah. Then put some water on it. Oh. I understand, and I would have done the same thing. Get a couple cups of water and help it go into the ground, and actually you'll do your mother's plant a good thing. Your mom would be glad if you heard it. Why? Does she have a problem with it too? Oh, your dog is pissing in the wrong places, but pissing on that plant would be okay. So she'll just blame your dog. Mm-hmm. What a strange little boy. Okay. I don't know. It's also understood if you need to pee, at least you did it in a place where it could do some good. And a plant. I'm assuming a plant outdoors. Of course you would blame your dog. Everybody blames it on the dog. They make a terrible fart. They blame it on the dog. Even if they don't have a dog. Very good. Go for it. I'm looking at what this canvas is doing before my eyes and going, yeah, that's a sucky canvas. I guess if I want good results, I'm going to have to start putting gesso down first. Because they supposedly gessoed these, but they're not. I think they just used crappy white paint. And said, good luck, sucker. Hope you know what gesso is, amateur. So let's see. I've been sitting on my butt, on mostly on my butt, for over 2 hours now. It's no wonder my bottom's getting numb. Oh, yeah, that's what I need. I'll be right back again. I really do need to do some of these little movements because not moving my hips, yeah, not good. I'll be right back. While we're waiting for paint to dry, because it's so interesting watching it dry, I'm going to teach you about a herb. No, not the one that's very famous right now. But before I take a precious book and get paint on it, I'm going to move this to get paint somewhere else. Here, get paint there. Oh my god, okay. And in fact, I think I'm going to go wash my hands like a good girl, because that's a really nice book I've got over here. Okay, make sure everything here is perfectly dry. Although there's some glitter stuck around. Looks pretty good to me. Okay, the Herb Society of America. The H is not silent in herb, although Americans and some people in Britain have dropped the H. Dropping the H was actually a bad habit in the English language. And they just dropped the H in lots of words. But we Americans, for some reason, also made it kind of silent, and it became herb. The herb. But it's herb unless paired with other words that make it sound stupid. I forget the exact rules, but for most part, yes, please do pronounce the H. It's correct. Okay, let's see. Whoa, alright, opened it to the M's. We will need better glasses for this. Oh, Menardas and Menardas and Menardas and Menardas and Menardas and Menardas. The whole thing is Menardas, except for Mamordica charantia, which is a balsam pear, a bitter gourd / melon. Okay, well, bitter melon. I have seen these. I have never eaten one. That's what it looks like where it's growing. And let me tell you more about it. Okay. The properties of the bitter melon. I've seen these at farmer markets. A laxative, diuretic herb that soothes irritated tissues, lowers fever, kills parasites, and cleanses toxins from the system. It is probably a uterine stimulant. That means it could start your period. Internally, it's been used for colitis and dysentery, the fresh juice of it. For intestinal worms, jaundice, and fevers, the leaves of it. It's been used externally for hemorrhoids, chapped skin, and burns. The fruit part of it, which would be the, the warty thing over here, which I did. There we go. That. Okay, culinary uses. The green, unripe fruits are added to curries or eaten raw, boiled, or fried after parboiling or soaking in salt water to remove bitterness. Young leaves and shoots are cooked as a vegetable. So the next time you see a bitter melon, you will know more about it than the people who work there selling it. It's not just something you eat, it's got medicinal properties. Every part of the plant except for the root is used medicinally. Pretty cool. And because so much of it is used medicinally, that's why it's under the herbal, not the vegetable. Oh, that looks like the dangerous poke. Let me see. Phytolacca americana. Yes. Yes, that's they calling it? Yep. It's poke, all right. All right. This is something I was talking about the other day, so it's actually in one of the previous videos of the week. Poke berries. Now, this is where old information on herbs and plants and all that stuff can be so wrong and dangerous, yet they persist because they're copyright free. That's the reason people are still making money and also using these things, these books, as enticements to buy their, whatever modern book has just been put out. There are a lot of things out there like that. Stuff on psychics, stuff on herbs, home cures, things like that. There is some good information in the old ways of doing things. But we have much better, safer ways of doing things these days. Also, a lot of things were done at home or in spas, and in the name of greater health, they weren't based on actually science. They were based on, what was passing for morals and purities. Purity was a big thing in the Victorian age. That's when they started bleaching fabric bright white, and that's where it became a wedding dress thing, and then it became a status symbol to have the more expensive bleached fabrics. Before then you didn't waste your time or your money, or actually you give up some of the strength of your clothing, the cloth, when you bleach it. Chlorine bleach is really harsh. But to the Victorians, it represented virginal purity and all that other good shit. So everything became white. Anything white became associated with being pure and good. Okay, and that became a big problem because obviously a lot of that referred to their skin. And if you were white, you were going in that portion of the world of pure and white and good, which we know, of course, is complete hogwash. We ended up poisoning ourselves, in essence, by making breads, the grain, super white, bleaching flour, and killing so much of the nutrients, and just creating so many imbalances in our diet that now we've seemed to have a nation of gluten intolerant people, when gluten shouldn't really bother you. But if it does, you have a sensitivity, and once you have a sensitivity, that's it. You have to be gluten-free. So I'm grateful I do not have that problem, but I believe a lot of it stems from our abuse of our foods before we get them into our gut. And I know a lot of people agree with me. I'm not like a everything from scratch person. I can't be an extremist. I don't have that kind of time. When you live on the farm, you can do a lot of stuff on your own. But let me tell you, when you decide that you're going to make something for yourself that you need to use all the time, it takes a lot of energy. Example, I planted a chase tree because of the berries being good for menopause, knowing I was going to be eventually, probably in about a decade, going into menopause. So I planted this tree. By the time I actually started menopause, it was doing exactly what I had planned. It was a big, beautiful tree. And when I say big and beautiful, its maximum was like 20 feet. if that. It was more, it was close to like 12 feet, 12, 13 feet tall. And it made all these beautiful, fragrant lavender flowers. And then the flowers gave way to these little teeny black pepper-like berries. And that was what I was looking for, those little dried up berries. You're supposed to get those berries gathered and grind them up and put them in capsules and take them every day. It's kind of like to help you with your estrogen, bump it up a little bit. Well, I went through that, all right? Started with the hot flashes, and I'm down there and I'm collecting my little berries and I'm getting ready. I've got the little capsules and I've got the capsule maker, the filler thing, and I'm all set to make my own medicine. I don't even know how many hours it took to make 100 capsules, but it was a significant part of the day because you get them, you've got to shake all the stuff out of it because you don't want to eat all the stuff that comes on. When you clean something from your garden, you end up with chaff and stuff that you don't want to eat. And since chaff from different grains and stuff's all different, some of it just goes away very quickly. Ooh, oh wow, cool. And other stuff is really a drag to. Is this ever gonna? You can try all different ways of getting this through screens and everything. It's a bitch. Anyway, I get those first 100 capsules done. I got them in a jar. A day's labor. And the next time I went to the health food store, I found the exact same thing I just made for $4. 100 capsules of chaseberry, $4. And here, like I said, so there's some things that, yeah, you can do it yourself. It's good to know you can do it yourself. It's good to be able to identify what it is to do what you need, but it's not always the most efficient thing. So I was really happy I grew that tree because it was a really nice tree, and our bees liked it, and gave us some shade. I planted it at the end of our deck, so as it was growing, we got some more shade on that end. And considering it could get to over 120 degrees on that deck in a North Carolina summer, I wanted some shade. So, yeah, some things you do. But anyway, long before we ended up on the farm, I was reading stuff like Prevention Magazine, and then back then there was still, you go to any natural food place and you could find things about sitz baths and this kind of thing. All these little home things you can do to treat yourself. A lot of them were like giving yourself colonics, enemas. They're big on enemas. They're big on sitting down in sitz baths and soaking your ass. Just all kinds of things that with understanding of bacteria and all that stuff now we don't do. And understanding how the bowels work we shouldn't do. There's all kinds of unfortunate things that we have done that have come from those old misunderstandings about how the body works from a few people that managed to get their stuff in print. Because that wasn't a popular topic, alternative home treatment kind of stuff, that just stood out because there's so few of them. So now you can still access them and you can find them for free all over the internet. That's the problem. You're finding this stuff free, but it's not good material. So be careful of what you read about herbology, about making your own medicines, because I've done it and I researched everything. So I'm glad to say that in 17 years of making my own medicines on the farm, I did not make any mistakes in terms of hurting myself or my animals. We did good. The big thing was that we did so well down there that even though I made all these medicines, and I grew all the herbs, and I got all the booze, and made all my elixirs and tonics, and we didn't get sick very much. Glenn got sick all the time because he worked with assholes. People that coughed in his face on purpose because, you're going to get it working around us anyway. Because he would be like, stay away from me. Do not cough in my direction. I don't want to catch what you have. And they were kind of assholes. So he often came home with things. And for some reason, even though I slept in the bed right next to him and in our little bedroom with, at least 3 or 4 dogs at a time. I didn't get his illnesses. And yeah, we were intimate. So why didn't I get sick? And he did. I'd say I was just doing better generally. Anyway, one of the dangerous things I read, and I read it actually as a opinion kind of a piece. Now, see, that's the thing about Prevention Magazine. It's not all vetted information. A lot of it is just stories that people have written in. This is what I did, and I cured myself of cancer. This one guy went into... No, it was just somebody, just people sometimes are just assholes. People can write in a story. It's like there's this guy cured a cancer with grape juice. Now, it's true. It's a true story. Nobody knows why it worked, but mostly we believe it's really the placebo effect. The guy was convinced because he'd read somewhere that grape juice, because of the, the antitoxin stuff in the color, the stuff that makes it was anthocyanins. I forget the word. But the same reason people suggest drinking red wine versus white, because it has more antioxidant power. So that was the basis of that, and he thought, well, if he took in all of these antioxidants, that he would kill the cancer. Well, it worked, but the guy drank like a gallon of purple grape juice a day. It's amazing the guy didn't die of another problem like acidosis or something, but a gallon of anything a day outside of water is insane to me. But he did it, and it is true the cancer was gone. But the thing is, he wrote to Prevention Magazine about it, and they printed it, and after that people were, of course, what do you think, going nuts drinking grape juice, convinced it was going to cure them. Well, one of the more dangerous ones, because mostly you get sick of drinking enough of that grape juice that you just stop. This is pokeberry. The poke bush is extremely distinctive because this is crappy pictures. Pokeberry and poke plants are magenta and bright green. I mean, when I say magenta, that's like glowing magenta. And white and deep purple. These berries look yummy. They are highly poisonous. Every part of the plant has this magenta that's basically telling you, don't touch us. Don't get us on your skin. Do not eat us. You can play with us, but you're stupid if you do. I used to collect these little green, when they were still green berries, because they were still hard, and I would dry them out and paint them to be miniature pumpkins inside eggs. Okay, nature, I find stuff, but the last thing I would do is eat it. But the advice that one person gave was to eat one of those berries every other day to destroy arthritis. It's like, you don't destroy arthritis. I mean, obviously the person who thought that they could take a berry of something highly toxic a day and that would cure their arthritis did not understand what arthritis is in the first place. So there is no cure. You may be able to slow down arthritis. You may be able to treat the pain of arthritis, but there's no cure once it starts. It's a degenerative issue that's going on. So if you're lucky, you'll slow down. But taking a berry of something that can kill you is not good for you. So that's not good advice. But it's there. People are reading it, people are believing it, and people are trying it, and people are ending up in the ER not knowing why they've got horrible stomach cramps and they're bent over double with diarrhea. So if you want to treat yourself medicinally, you need to really understand some herbology and not just go off an article in Prevention Magazine or any other magazine. There's lots of things that we can do as humans that might work once for a person, but it doesn't mean it's going to work for you ever. It's just the way the chemistry works. It's our belief systems. Again, remember, we are programming ourselves. Why can one person live to be 109 years old and smoke 3 cigars a day and be fine, but another person smokes 1 cigar a day and they're dead at 50? It's the person, it's their belief systems, it's what else is going on in their world. So if someone suggests that this is a miracle cure for what ails you, please check many resources and get some more feedback on that concept before you go ahead and risk your own health. Some stuff might not be a bad idea, and some stuff can kill you. Now, here's something that's a good idea. If your stomach can handle it, onions and garlic are very good for you. Both of them are good antibiotics, antiviral. They have really good properties. They're good for feeding the gut bacteria. If you can tolerate them, I can eat some raw onion. If I eat a cooked onion, my stomach's going to pay. And anybody in my room with me will as well. So some things I can eat, some things I can't. But those are a couple of things that are really good for you. Ginger is really good for you. Turmeric, cumin, these are spices. We're just used to thinking of them as flavors. They're all medicinal. Cinnamon, medicinal. Helps you with balance your sugar, your glucose. So people who have diabetes, cinnamon. The more cinnamon you can get in your diet, you're not hurting yourself. You get what's the dose? I don't know, like a teaspoon a day? You'd have to look it up. But cinnamon has been found to be very helpful in balancing glucose. So I'd say, well, if I was diabetic, yep, I'd try. I think I even have some cinnamon capsules somewhere. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff, but they're just part of your natural diet. There's something we call slow medicine, and slow medicine is basically understanding that everything you're putting into your body it's not just like energy, it's medicine. So you can think about what your issues are and then take a look at what's in the natural world that you normally would eat, or you might want to consider trying anyway, that can address whatever you're dealing with. If you have a lot of pain, you might want to see if you can tolerate anything that has got some hot pepper in it. There's different things for different issues. So do a little research. But if it sounds extreme and you look it up and everything is saying, oh, this is a poison, there's so many other options. Don't even mess around with something that they say is a poison. And by the way, did you know that our regular pepper, the stuff, black pepper, pink pepper, white pepper, all that, it's all the same, just different ages and different places where it's grown. That's poison. Basil in large quantity is poison. You don't eat them. You use them for flavoring. If you were going to sit down and eat an entire basil plant, I'd say, well, if you have this problem or that, you might want to think twice about that. But you may be fine. You can tolerate a basil pesto, with no problem. Other people might find they need to use a different herb. Basil's a little bit rough on their stomachs. You never know, right? That's why we have different preferences. So that was today's herbal and herbal medicine lesson of sorts. Oh, guys being guys are asshole. Just makes me think. I saw a tweet today as I was trying to figure out what my password was so I can shut myself out of Twitter. It just cracked me up. It was a guy who says he doesn't understand why he can't get laid. But he's got a purity thing, so he wants a woman who's pure. Also, he can't help it, but he only sees women as, basically sees them as objects. And he just can't seem to see them any other way. And I guess he's flirted a couple of times, but nothing happens. So he just doesn't understand why women aren't interested in him. Now, of course, there was no mention of anything else, like, do you take care of yourself? If you cannot see women as something more than an object, then why would you think they'd want anything to do with you? Women don't want to be objectified. You think we're objects, Women have discovered that they can stand on their own, and that's what's scaring some of these men, because women can get by without a man, without a problem at all. And I love men, but right now I don't want one around me. And it's not anti-men, it's just I'm finally enjoying just being able to take a deep breath, and everything I do is for me. Unless I'm doing something for you guys, you know what I mean? It's right now just a real pleasure to not have to worry about kids, don't have to worry about family right now, because everybody's doing all right. Also, there's nobody within walking distance, that's for sure. Nearest one's a bit of a drive, and then the other nearest one is even more of a drive, and I don't have a way to drive, so, I'm here, and I'm enjoying it, and it's so nice. That's true. A lot of guys are still locked into the Playboy magazine view of a woman, and that's dangerous because it means they will never, well, not never, that if they learn what love is, if they learn to love themselves, they learn to look at the person instead of just trying to match them into some kind of a Barbie mold, because that's what that is. It's Barbie dolls, and a Barbie doll doesn't even bend in the right way. Barbie dolls are just freaking plastic, and they're make-believe. And they're based on somebody's warped imagination of what a female is or looks like. How many Barbie dolls have you actually met in this life? There are the models, there are the usually teenagers, right? Young girls. I was young too. And when I was in my 20s, I had no problem with my body. My waist was where it belonged, and so were my boobs. And so was my butt. And I turned 59, and my butt dropped and then turned around to the front. Life happens. We're built to do things, like, okay, you get to be this age. We're going to do this now. We're going to rearrange you because we want to make sure you survive the next 30, 40 years. It's like, okay, you're done with this part. We're moving to this next phase. So we're rearranging your assets. So my assets have been rearranged. And yeah, I'll need help putting them back. But if a man is expecting me to go through any effort to look like a Barbie doll, wrong man for me. Too shallow, too stuck, can't think for himself. He's got a, what is that? Like a die-cast view. Die-cast. It's like, yeah, you're the same. I can probably expect that you'll like that. You'll like that. It's like you want to put me into a box, I can put you into one too. You probably like mechanical things, right, mister? Probably like football. All right, yay. Like raising children? Now, there's another toxic male kind of a thing going on. They are trying to tell men not to masturbate, that they've got to be more superior. Superior men don't masturbate. This is a nutsy Christian idea, okay? It's not true. Men need to masturbate, and so do women, because we're made to go through certain kinds of bodily processes to be healthy. And masturbation is what is there for you. So, especially men, you need to do that. Keep the pipes clean, so to speak. The testicles need to be aerated. There's like honeycombs in there. And fluids cannot, you don't want everything getting sluggish and old. You want things moving. So, Now, when it comes to our images of what is sexy, these guys are trying to tell other guys that it's a lie that women want men who are more like dad types, that we're not interested in the super buff, muscular, let's go hunt wolves together kind of a person. And they think that's what they have to be. But I don't know what kind of woman they've got in mind, because, sure, maybe some of the backwoods outdoorsy women who live out there in the wild and have to survive on their cattle farm, I can see them being a little bit tougher. But in general, women want men who are sensitive enough to hear them when they're talking and laugh with them and understand, not be women, but understand that life is a bitch sometimes, and you've got to break up your responsibilities, and you've got to take turns in doing things, and there's no such thing as a set mold, because sometimes daddy is going to have to be the one that gets up in the middle of the night and take care of a feeding. All of that. It's just so many different variations on a theme. And you just have to give everybody permission to do what's right for them. But you have to also stop condemning everybody for doing what's right for them. You want the freedom to be who you are. And in wanting that freedom for yourself, you have to grant it to everyone, without exceptions, unless it is causing some kind of emotional damage like pedophilia. Adults who play with children sexually are fucking up the children, and so that cannot be allowed to happen. So yeah, stop that. No diddling children, okay? Period. Just like murder, no murdering, okay? You're not allowed to just go and randomly kill people. People are going ahead and doing it, inspired by what the fuck, I don't know. Today I saw another one of those headlines, and it's like a clearly Asian man killed 6 Jewish people. It's like, huh? What? What the fuck is wrong? Oh. Yeah. So it's cultures, cultures, that's another thing. It depends, just like your point of view, right? It depends on where you're standing. If you are the owner of a huge corporation, then you want everybody to love you, the ones that count, the ones that have the money. So you're going to want to do things that make the corporation more money. But that also might include lobbying to make sure your taxes go down. But that fucks everybody else. But you, that corporate guy, you're going to be happy. You're going to be very happy. You're also going to be wealthier. And so will the people who bank on you. Now, that company could be doing any kind of damage. So, it doesn't mean you're an angel. It just means you're profitable. It doesn't make you good or right. But if you are one of the employees and you need a raise and they won't give it to you, then you are obviously less than the CEO. But in a corporation, it doesn't matter. Everybody knows their positions from the bottom up. But when they bring that kind of a headset to just, families, the hierarchy bit. Now, we grew up with that. Man is the head of the household. And the man being the head of the household right there sets the whole tone for everything else. Man is the head of the household. That means he makes the rules for that household, whatever they may be. Yeah, it doesn't change. You can get all the pissed off you want, but when you go into a different country, it's like when in Rome, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. That's what the Pope told whatever the guy who went to talk to people in Rome. You do whatever they're doing because you got to fit in. You don't go there and get yourself killed the first day because you objected to one of their traditional whatevers. If you're in a place and everybody around you drops on their knee and starts praying when the sun starts to go down, then you better drop on your knee and do the same thing. Even if you don't know the prayer, you show respect to everyone around you by just at least emulating them and not becoming a distraction, by jumping up and down or protesting or I'm out of here. You don't do that, right? When in that situation, you just cooperate for a while. It's not going to kill you to sit down and just wait for the prayer time to be over. Then you get up and go back to whatever you were doing. So, and when people are so about their own ego, that's a problem right there. I understand a woman not wanting to be seen as less than the man, but we have that problem right here in this country. So getting pissed off about it going on in another country, let's handle America first. If you're an American, just get busy trying to protect the women's rights here. We're getting stomped by Republican policies. They're extremist, they're religious, which is not supposed to be going on in this country because we're supposed to not mix religion and government, but that's what's going on. So we've got our own problems. We've got a religious segment of our population that is trying to dictate to the rest of our country. So I'd say fuck the other countries right now. Stay out of it. Come here. Cope with what we need to protect in our own. And as far as being important, please, I think if you're a smart person, and especially if you are a smart woman, you know how to play the game. And when you have to perform in a certain way, it's not demeaning unless you're doing something demeaning. Curtsying, bowing, covering your head, what's so hard about that? That's not like I'm going to go here and I'm going to have surgery to please you, cut off my hoo-ha, sew it shut, whatever, it's like I'm not going into extremes here. I will respect you on the surface, politely in public, and when I'm alone, I don't have to do anything with your religion. Well, your ex-girlfriend is being silly on that subject. I understand where she's coming from on the idea that women should no longer, well, we should never have been, but we have constantly been disrespected. But when you are in a different country, you have to respect the laws of that country, the culture of the country, and then go back to your country, and go back to being held in whatever esteem you want to be. You've got more freedom here. They don't have that there in the Middle East. Nowhere there. So, yeah. If she wants to be in that country and stay in that country, and she wants to be part of the change, then she's got to do it the way the natives do it. They want change. You have to have enough people that want to protest the Sharia law. Whatever those people, the religious heads are saying, that's what the people are doing. and you want to make a change, good luck. When it's based on religious ideals or religious anything, you're fighting ghosts because it's all made up. And there is nothing you can do to prove that God exists other than writings that you claim were inspired by God. But again, inspired absolutely, but clearly inspired by people who want to rule men. And those people are men. They wrote all the rules. We are men. We will rule all women. Women, you are inferior. Children, you are inferior. Children, you're just something we can trade away. I love how people are so about saving the children, unborn children, save them. Well, first of all, that's not in the Bible. The Bible definitely had nothing against abortion. You got reimbursed in silver if someone caused the loss of a fetus or an unborn baby, but that's it. But they also didn't value children the way we do now. Now we put children on pedestals because we need children. Yeah, well, back then, children were just to work for us. It wasn't something we cherished so heavily. Yes, of course we cared for our kids, but we had nothing like now, where we want to make sure that they're well cared for and educated and not abused and all that. Abuse. Those kids in the old days got slapped around like they were dogs. So, unless you were royalty, a heir to the throne or the property or whatever, you got respect if you mattered. If you were a girl, good luck. All they wanted to do with you, if you were female, was sell you off for the what did they call it? The dowry. We will buy your daughter. We will give you 6 cows and 3 sheep for that girl. And if you were needing sheep and cows, then of course, there you go. Thanks. And then, you married that person and made them into cattle. So, what a lovely afternoon. It is absolutely gorgeous out. Oh, let me see if that painting is done. How we doing? Oh, not bad. It's a wonderful world. Focus on what matters. We are not there in the Middle East, are we? We are here. We need to protect what we've got, but we don't want to dwell on what we don't have, because that just amplifies that. Whatever you catch yourself thinking of is what you are amplifying in your life. Therefore, we want things that will do us better. I like that one too. This is a good one. All right. Programming the subconscious mind is what helps you recreate yourself in a better vibrational state. If we don't program ourselves, we just keep repeating the history that we've already had, because those are the only vibrations we're familiar with. We have to be able to consider our imaginations as our major tool in making things better. When you want something to be better, you have to picture what it feels like better. First, you've got to see it in your mind, and then you have to have an emotional response to it. If you do not have an emotional response, you are not creating effectively. You're putting ideas out there, and you are attracting whatever you're thinking about, but it's not going to have a bunch of oomph behind it. It's going to be just waiting around, and the way it might come to you will be not as accurate as you desired, just what you did not really focus on putting into your vortex. So if we want to do better, we have to deliberately program ourselves with positive affirmations, things that are going to train our subconscious minds to do better, to go and seek and create what we need. So here is a really good one to go on with the rest of the week. I realize that stress is only fear. I now release all fears. I let go of all negativity that rests in my body and mind. When we say this like a mantra every morning when we first wake up and every night before we go to bed, we are going to experience less stress. We are going to experience less fear. When you first start saying something like this, your brain is going to throw up all kinds of ideas of why you should be afraid. Be afraid of this and be afraid of that. Remember when you were afraid of that and you were afraid of this? That's what the brain does automatically. It brings up whatever comes up under that filing system. Fear. Fear. This is to release all fears, but underneath the file of fear, ding, 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 ding. Every experience you've had with fear is going to line up just like it feels like an attack, but it's just the brain doing its filing thing. But you have emotional charges attached to a lot of those things still. So therefore, when they come up, you may react and you may find yourself stuck in a reaction for a while. When that happens, you're wasting your energy. While you're awake and you have the power to change your thoughts consciously, don't waste your juice. When you're asleep, you've got no control. When you're asleep, everything just is released. You need to have that sleep to release everything. You go kind of level again. And when you wake up, you've got that power again. You've got your power on. I realize that stress is only fear. Fear is the enemy. Fear blinds us to solutions. Fear generates the exact wrong chemistry in our bodies for good health. Fear does not help us unless it's to get us out of the way of an oncoming train. If it's that kind of thing, yeah, that's a good idea to get afraid and move it. But most other things in your life, fear is only going to suck you dry of energy and clarity. You need to be calm to think clearly. You need to have a lot of oxygen in your brain to think clearly. And when you are afraid or stressed, you are breathing shallowly and you are not taking in enough air. You're not getting adequate oxygen when you're afraid. Your cells think they're dying, and you set up this whole chemical attack going on. It's like, I'm dying, I'm afraid. And then you start hyperventilating. We really do ourselves in with our stress and our fears. This is why it's so important to train our brains right off the bat to recognize that what's really going on is we're afraid. We're afraid of what we don't have or what we can't see. We're afraid of what might happen because we're looking at the past and putting it into the future. We're looking into the past fails, the past fears. We're looking at where people are going out of their way to generate new fears, but they're not real or even going to ever bother us in reality. But we take it on. We reactive, and when we're reactive, we're not thinking clearly. So I realize that stress is only fear. I now release all fears. That's a really good mantra. When you say it over and over every day, your brain will start to cooperate. You will start to feel better. You'll start to feel more in control of your life. And everybody wants that. You just don't realize how much you've missed it when you're going to lose it. But we all want to be in more control of our lives. But if we are focused on our fears or allowing fear to dictate how we react to things, we're not going to really move forward toward our dreams, are we? We're just going to keep going back into those past fails and past fears. So when you catch it, say, stop it, stop, right there, stop. I don't want to think about that. That's the wrong direction. And then feel your way into the right direction. What feels better to think about? When you hit on that something to think about, then focus. Keep moving in the direction of that thought, the good feeling thoughts. And if you can't get out of that negativity, then do something completely different. Drop what you're doing. Get up. Pace a little bit or go for a walk. Go get a cup of tea or a fresh cup of coffee, whatever it is you like. Do something to physically break that mental loop you're stuck in. Don't let the negativity take hold of you. When it does, shake it off. You've got to shake it off. Work on that. So guys and gals, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I am going to go ahead and start my dinner. So go ahead and grab a spark of your own light. Bring it forward into tomorrow. And tomorrow is Sunday. I'll be here in the morning on Twitch. Sunday's Twitch day. So I'll see you tomorrow morning. And we will do more. Well, we'll do more of something. Aloha Maui. Sweet dreams, Charlie. Oinkiness. Resignation time. Come on. Mwah. I'll see you all tomorrow.